This feels very official, friends. You know, I'm used to kind of just walking back and forth. But thank you all for being here. If I have not had the honor and privilege of meeting you all, my name is Noelle Britt, and I get the privilege of serving our incredible Department of Neighborhoods as your Eastland Neighborhood Program Specialist. And so I actually have been with the city a little bit over 2 years. So this project has been my entire city baby. And so we are here in this wonderful stage where we are getting ready to celebrate the official launch of this plan. But before we do that, there are so many thank yous that need to go out first and foremost. We're going to start first with our Mayor Ginther and our elected officials. And so we have been very privileged to have the support of our elected officials throughout this process. And I'm going to let the slides catch up for you. Beautiful. Can we clap it up for our wonderful CTV folks in the back who are helping keep us together? Thank you, thank you. Awesome, awesome. Our city council, again, Rep. Humphrey, Senator Craig, they have been super engaged in this process, so we are just grateful for all of their support. Our wonderful city departments. I'm looking at a few folks in the back who are featured in this presentation. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes at the city to make these plans happen and to keep them going. And so I just want to extend my sincerest gratitude to our incredible city partners, our city departments. I had a lot of fun going through these pictures to find awesome graphics of you all so engaged in this plan. And we know that the work is just getting started, and so there will be more of this moving forward. But just wanted to officially thank all of the folks internally for their support. And I would like us to give a thunderous round of applause to our consultant team. Our folks from MKSK, you gotta stand up, come on. Neighborhood Design Center, Cohere, Development Strategies. These folks, along with our team, were truly the engine that kept this thing going. I'm staring at you all, so I'm talking to you directly, but I'm talking to the crowd. Thank you so much for all of your hard work that you put into this plan to make it what it was. NDC, there, folks, you guys are still working in the back. I see you there. Thank you all for just being who you are, the incredible individuals that you are, but most importantly, wonderful, even more important, wonderful professionals that have made this process for me incredible. So I just want to thank you for your hard work, and just excited to have you here tonight. And then our advisory committee, if you are on this, we did this before, we did it at the third public meeting, but I'm gonna have you stand up again. Our advisory committee, if you are on this list, can you stand up, please, and thank you. You should know who you are if you're on the advisory committee. There we go, come on, don't be shy. So this is a smaller group of community leaders and organizational leaders who really help spearhead the development and creation of the plan. And so they will also be the group that will continue to work with us to implement the plan. And so I'll talk a little bit more about what Advisory Committee 2.0 looks like. But again, just want to acknowledge these folks for showing up, for working through this plan with us and helping it to become what it is today. And I also want you to give a thunderous round of applause for yourselves. Clap it up for yourselves, please and thank you, please and thank you. You all made our job a whole lot easier because from the jump, you showed up, whether it was a survey, whether it was a board, a Post-it, whatever it was. We heard so much feedback from you all, and I really hope that you feel it reflected in the plan. Again, over 1,800 individuals, that's a lot of people, contributed to this beautiful document that is now live on the website, by the way, that you all will see referenced here tonight. So thank you to everyone who came to the public meetings, topic workshops, who filled out a survey, again, who did a digital engagement if you couldn't be here. We just are super appreciative of you all and helping us get here. And before we continue the program, I'm going to hand it off to our incredible director, Kim Douglas, for her remarks. And then after she comes up, we'll have a video from Mayor Ginther.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me if I don't lean in and am awkward? Thank you very much for the back of the room. So this really is a community effort. Did you guys just see her pull my dress before I got up here? That is the kind of community that you're sitting in. That is the kind of community that showed up for this plan. and showed up to make sure that Eastland was represented and that you were in the pages and in the documents. And so we thank you not only for showing up, 1,810 participants. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of your personal time. Yeah, that how we engaged, and community engagement is what the Department of Neighborhoods is all about. I am Kim Douglas, the director of the Department of Neighborhoods, and I am pleased as punch to be here with you all today to celebrate this anticipated, waited, not delayed, that's not the right word that I was looking for, the much anticipated Eastland for Everyone plan. And so it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight, to be able to congratulate you on this, but to also to say thank you to the partners that Noel has outlined. Together we celebrate the culmination of countless hours of work. But let me be clear, this is just the beginning. This plan is a roadmap, and its success depends on our continued collective effort. To ensure that this plan is as impactful as possible, we need to stay connected and engaged. Please check your emails regularly. Please go to the Department of Neighborhoods website. Please go to eastlandforeveryone.com and check for updates on the things that are going on in your community that will lift this plan off the pages and make it a reality in this community. That is the next step. That is what this roadmap sets for us. And so we're excited to be a part of what it looks like to move forward. Thank you, and let's work together to make the Eastland for Everyone plan a success. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mayor Andy Ginther, and I'm so happy to be part of the official launch of the Eastland for Everyone Community Plan. In collaboration with the Department of Neighborhoods, this is a moment to celebrate, come together, and create opportunities for all of us to engage in the evolution of our community. I hope that today is a chance for you to connect with your neighbors and celebrate the incredible diversity that makes Columbus such a wonderful place to call home. We want to strengthen our neighborhoods, build a stronger community, and ensure that we're creating a healthy space where everyone can thrive. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has worked so hard to bring this plan to life. Your dedication and commitment are what make this plan possible, and we couldn't be more thankful for your efforts. We are fully committed to this plan, and you have the full support of the city's resources behind it. We're excited to see where this journey takes us, and we can't wait to move forward together.
Thank you, Mayor Ginther. And I am going to welcome up some of my favorite individuals on the East Side. So I am going to invite any area commissioners here present to join us, if that's okay. But our speakers in particular, we are going to have first Ms. Quay, or Quay Barnes, I call her Ms. Quay. We are going to have Ms. Ava Johnson, and then Vangela Barnes will have official remarks as well. So come on up. Clap it up. There we go.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Quay Barnes, and I'm the Outreach Chair for the Mideast Area Commission. And with me today, since I'm the first one I can introduce them, with me today is always, as always, Jennifer. Where is Jennifer? Okay. Jennifer Chamberlain, who is the Chair of the Far East Area Commission. Vangela Barnes, who's Chair of the Greater East Side Commission. And folks, along with Felicia and well, then my chair, obviously. Felicia Saunders is from the Mideast Area Commission. Could you just give them a hand, please?
You're doing great. There you go. Keep going. Yep. Great.
Okay. All right. These folks, there are also two other people I'd like to introduce. I'd like to introduce Sharon Ware, if she would stand, and Ava Johnson, if she would stand, along with Felicia. Now, these folks, along with two others that couldn't attend, have devoted over 15 years to helping us meet this landmark. Please, please give them a hand of You see, folks, it started in 2007, with the community and city effort called the Hamilton Road Corridor Eastland Area Plan. The introduction to this plan said, "We are encouraged by the engaged community and residents of the city embarked upon this planning process designed to generate a revitalizing plan for this corridor." So you know sometimes when you pray hard enough and you work even harder, God grants you more than what you prayed for in the beginning. We were looking only at Eastland Mall renovation. That was it. But this plan is so much more. 2 years ago, we and you would not have envisioned that the Mid-Ohio Food Collective Prosperity Center was in the plan. Okay? We were fighting for Kroger. We were just trying to keep Kroger open. Okay? But oh no, not only will we have a Mid-Ohio market where folks who need it can get food for free, but we'll have a full-size commercial kitchen. There will be, for ready-made food, there will be a neighborhood pride center there, the area commissions are there, social services, you name it. We didn't think that 2 years ago. All right. Secondly, 2 years ago, we would have never thought about Columbus State Community College buying land from First Church of God. Thank you, First Church of God. Where are you? Thank you. All right. And them developing, and for Columbus State to develop a campus facility for folks training for vocational careers, a place where students can prepare themselves for careers, get this, while their employers are literally waiting on them to graduate. Literally waiting. Give it a hand. 2 years ago, we did not know, we knew that there was going to be a Mason-run recreation park, but we had no extent to the fact that they were going to develop a state-of-the-art recreational facilities with all types of outdoor sports and leisure activities. We had no clue. 78 acres, okay, west of Eastland Mall. These were unexpected blessings, but this plan has even more, and why? And that's where you come in, Mr. Because we have a team from the Department of Neighborhoods in the persons of Director Kim Douglas, Strategy Manager Patisse Allen, wherever she is, Brady, and the Program Specialist Noel Britt, and our own invaluable Lynn LaCour from our liaison office. Yeah, let's give them all a hand. This is the key, folks. They listened to us. They listened to us. They made no assumptions about what we needed or what we wanted. They did not dictate to us what we would or could not get, okay? And they gave us innumerable opportunities for us to dream, complain, demand, dictate the desire for our area. And because of that, we want to say thank you. We want to say thank you for your professionalism, your open-mindedness, your dedication in moving this project forward each and every day, and now that day is here. So we wish to also thank Mayor Ginther, who met with us for updates and answered our questions, to thank City Council for funding MKSK, the consultant for this great project, and their team members, Cohere Neighborhood Design Center and Development Strategies, but most of all, to you. Most importantly, to you. It's you, Eastsiders, who never gave up. You never gave up. And because of that, it's our time. Thank you very much.
Well, greeting Eastsiders. Okay, just a little bit louder. Greeting Eastsiders. There you go. Well, my name's Ava Johnson. I am a proud Columbus-born, longtime resident of the East Side. I am so full of gratitude and hope today for this celebration. I want to thank, like Quay said, and thank you, Quay Barnes, for all the work you've done. I want to thank, like Quay said, the City of Columbus, Mayor Ginther, City Council, City Attorney Zach Klein, the Department of Neighborhoods, the Department of Development, MKSK, Cohere, CPD liaisons. A special shout out to Noel Britt, Patrice Brady, and Lynn LaCour, our area commissioners and our area commissions, Mid-East, Greater Southeast, and Far East, and all the East Side residents and those who love this area. Now, because I am a proud, longtime Columbus-born resident, I remember Eastland Mall and the surrounding area in its glory days. There was shopping, there was eating. I got lost in the parking lot with my mom because there were so many cars. Believe it or not, there was even a movie theater at one time. All right, I heard some, yeah, all right. Now, things changed over the years, but almost 15 years ago, I met a lady who loved the East Side just as much as I did. Now, she wasn't born in Columbus, but she fell in love with the East Side as she raised her family on the East Side of Columbus. When I met her, we started talking about our love for the East Side, the mall, and the surrounding area. But we also noticed that things started to change in the area. The stores started leaving. Macy's, Lazarus changed to Macy's, and Sears started to selling stuff off, and things started to change. But we didn't give up. We had that self-love for the East Side. So before we knew it, she had dragged me into a meeting at her church to talk about how we could breathe vitality back into the East Side. And before we knew it, we were contacting the Department of Development to say, hey, have you guys done any zoning or code enforcement looks at the East Side Mall, Eastland Mall, in the area? Have you seen all the trash in the area? Have you seen all the trucks? I mean, Eastland Mall just wasn't the Eastland Mall. You had the Big Bear, you had Kmart, which I loved to go get the Little Caesars pizza at the time. You had the Krogers. It was a vibrant, vibrant community. But as things started to change, we started to strategize even more. We wrote letters to the city officials. My friend also started bugging the Columbus mayor because East Side was not mentioned in the city, state of the city addresses. And she kept on saying, when are you going to talk about the East Side? You talk about Hilltop, you talk about the West Side, you talk about the North Side. When are you going to talk about the East Side? Because as we know, the East Side is the best side. My friend may not remember, but we went to the mall. We met with the Eastland Mall management because we wanted to see the area revived. We wanted to see life back in the area. But how many of you know that when something is getting ready to die or is dying, sometimes you can't breathe life into it. Sometimes you gotta just reconstruct the whole thing all over again, all right? Sometimes you gotta just let it die. We met with the mall owners. We even interviewed some of the mall business owners because we were trying to breathe life in it, but it wasn't meant to be. With every obstacle we met, we would go back to the drawing board and start strategizing again. Because of this lady's persistence and her love for the East Side and those who joined with her just like me, we're here today. We have new sidewalks, we have a new infrastructure, and now the mall is coming down, making way for new memories. So even though I can't think about, I have fond memories of Eastland Mall and all the things that went around. Remember when Kohl's was over there? We even had an Olive Garden, all right? We had Denny's, we had everything, all right? But those days are past. Now it's time to look for a new beginning. How many can say a new beginning? New beginning. Woo-hoo! So you may be asking, who is this lady that drugged me into these meetings with her, all right? Made me sit down and come up with these strategies. Made me call Mr. Slappy and all these other people at the City Hall. Quay Barnes. Quay Barnes was the one that got us energized and said, don't give up. See, in 2007, there was a Eastland Mall Hamilton Road corridor report. And God bless the city officials, you can take this out to tape, but they let we had the 2008 housing crash, okay? And the report just sat on the shelves. So if it wasn't for the Quay Barnes of this world, we wouldn't be here today. So thank you, Quay Barnes, and thank you for every... Thank you for leading the charge. Now, you know, if you're a general, if you're in the Army, or you're a captain, you need other people. So it just wasn't Quay, but Quay was the one. She's like a pit bull when she, with a bone, all right? When she gets something that she wants, she's going after it, all right? I didn't have the boldness to go up to Mayor Ginther and say, when you talk about the East Side. But Quay did, so thank you, Quay. And thanks to all of you, just like Quay said, who supported this work. Up until this point, we thank you, we thank you, we thank you. Now remember, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. It's a new beginning. So I'm begging you, I'm pleading with you, please stay involved. Please give us your input. East Side is the best side. It's a place for everyone. We're not survivors, we're thrivers. Now let's go and make some new memories. God bless.
Well, I didn't know I was going to be following her. Hi, my name is Vangela Barnes, and I am the chair of the Greater Southeast Area Commission, started by Ava. Ava Johnson is the reason why the GSEAC exists today, and it was started back in 2015. I moved to Columbus in 1983 to go to DeVry Institute. And as you know, that's an East Side college that no longer exists, but that's how I got my education in computer science. I've lived all over Columbus, and I agree with Ava, the East Side is the best side. And tonight, I have here with me the commissioners of the GSEAC, Peaches Calhoun, Mark Harper, Diana Bunting, Victoria, and Diana has probably been on there as long as Ava, I think, on our commission. Victoria Murray and Sheila Blanchard. Thank you guys for coming and supporting and for being there. Part of the GSEAC is part of this whole project. We have most of the area east of Hamilton Road all the way over to Noel Bixby. Most of the things along Refugee Road on both sides are part of our commission area. So we have been very involved in this. We really appreciate everybody and everybody's input as part of providing input to this plan, because like we've said, we couldn't have done it without any of you and getting what you guys wanted to be a part of this plan. I also want to thank, like I said, Ava Johnson, Lynn LaCour, who has been a mentor to me. Lynn is our liaison for the East Side for Quay, myself, Jennifer, and Felicia. She has been there for us. She steps in when we can't be there. She's a hard worker. I just hope in 20 years that I can still work as hard as Lynn is working. I just love her to death, and sometimes we butt heads on things, but she always calms me down, so she's really good. Thank you, Noel, for all you've done. You're a fantastic project manager. I come from the world of IT and project management, and sometimes project management is like herding cats. So she has done a fantastic job of doing this project. I definitely commend her for that. And again, thank you, Mayor Ginther, for all you've done and for all of your support. Why I got involved with this is because Ava came to me and asked me if I wanted to get on the commission because I kept complaining about the sidewalks and things that we didn't have. And if you know, anything that goes past probably Old Bryce Road turns into cornfields, but there's not cornfields there now. There's a lot of things out past that area. We go all the way over to Bowen Road in our commission, down to 33 and up to Refugee Road, and all the way over to Hamilton Road, to the east side of Hamilton Road. And in that area, there's probably about 45,000 people that live in that area. We have 4 public schools in our commission area. That's City of Columbus, we have Groveport, we have Pickerington, and we have Canal Winchester. So we have a very diverse area with a lot of various different organizations and people that live in our area. So we try really hard to try to accommodate everybody and the different views that people want, and that's why we wanted to make sure that everybody got involved in providing your feed and your input into this. I again say the same thing that she said about, Quay said. Quay and I are not related, but we have the same last names, and so we call ourselves sisters. But the food bank is really the building that we will have is going to be called the Ohio Eastland Prosperity Center. And as she said, all the things that it's going to house is going to be wonderful for us and for our community. There's going to be so many new things like the Lindora community area on Lindora and Carbondale, which will be a meeting place, is one of the things we're looking at in the plan that you'll see, so that the neighbors over in that area will have a place. The parks are putting in more trails that will connect people to various different areas and allow them to be able to get on their bikes and get to different areas where now you really don't have a way to get to Eastland without hitting very busy streets. And again, as a commissioner, I'm just so proud to be involved in this and to have input. We also have open seats. So if you want to get involved as a commissioner, I put this plug in every time. There's two main plugs I put in. I want a rec center, and that's why I got involved, because we don't have a rec center out in our area of the commission area, and I've been pushing for getting a rec center and a public pool for us. If you know, a couple years ago when there were a lot of issues, our kids weren't allowed to go to the suburban public pools. We need our own public pools. I'm an advocate for teaching our kids to swim at a young age, and I've been pushing for getting a rec center in our commission area. We probably could get two, and it probably wouldn't be overcrowded. And the other thing that I'm always pushing is get involved in your commission. It's a starting place if you're interested in helping your community, if you're interested in being a part of the solution and not just complaining about the problem, but being a part of the solution. So I ask that you get involved. And I'd just like to say, too, that I thank God for everything that He's allowed us to be able to do here. And we always talk about how it takes the community, but it also takes our churches. And I am so glad that First Church has stepped up with the helping with Columbus State Community College. I'm an electrician. I own my own electrical company, but I also do IT and things like that. I love to see our young people get involved in the trades, and I'm so excited to see Columbus State coming, and I'm so glad that our churches has been a part of that. So again, thank you all for everything that you've done and for being a part of this. And I hope that you stay involved, and I hope that you get involved with one of our commission areas. You don't have to be a commissioner, you can serve on a committee, but we'd love to see you guys get more involved in your area commission and see what's going on through that process. Thank you for coming, and we look forward to seeing you as you interact with us going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. And again, if you have any questions about anything area commission, these folks on the first row would love to talk a little bit more with you. I just want to call out a few folks. Senator Craig, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Officer Tober, hello, I see you in the back. Thank you for always being here. Clap it up. Thank you very much. And real quick, too, thank you to my neighborhoods family who is here. I see quite a few of you all. I just appreciate your support and you being here as well. Before I dive a little bit more into the plan, so we're going to do a real quick, just high-level look. Some of you who have been here every single time, you will see just some slight tweaks to the things that we have talked about before, but again, just excited to just give us a quick refresher on where we have landed with the plan. But before we do that, we've got a fun-filled little video for you all to watch. So I will let our folks tee that up, and then you will come back to me speaking again.
Well, today is all about neighborhoods. I said when I became mayor, my top 3 priorities were going to be neighborhoods, neighborhoods, neighborhoods. We're also setting our sights on revitalizing the Eastland area, where we'll be developing a new community-driven plan like the ones we created for Linden and the Hilltop. And we look forward to working with our neighbors and businesses in Eastland to make a similar impact.
The Eastland for Everyone Community Plan serves as a roadmap for the future growth and development of the Eastland area. Bringing together community data and input, it creates a community-driven vision for Eastland's future, centering on people, places, and opportunity. Thanks to our incredible community, over 1,800 people were engaged and involved in this process. Through focus groups, stakeholder meetings with school staff and faith leaders, public meetings, topic workshops, surveys, digital engagement on our website, community office hours, pop-up events, the Eastland Plan Advisory Committee, and the Neighborhood Strategy City Work Group, the Eastland for Everyone Community Plan creates a framework for future development grounded in community voice. Based on all of the community feedback, data, and market studies, 8 key topics rose to the top. We call these priorities our 8 big ideas, which are housing, preserving and maintaining the existing housing stock, adding new housing, affordability, and quality. Retail, small business, and entrepreneurship, supporting new and existing retail and small businesses, ensuring retail meets community needs, and redeveloping the South Hamilton and Refugee Road corridors. Youth and education, supporting our schools and youth service providers to improve student success and offer more opportunities for positive youth development. Community well-being and services, improving health and wellness outcomes by increasing and improving access to services and resources. Jobs and opportunity, diversifying job opportunities and connecting residents to job opportunities and financial empowerment resources. Mobility and access, investing in safe and modern pedestrian, bike, and transit infrastructure. Community identity and pride, beautifying and enhancing the physical appearance of the area. And lastly, community gathering, creating spaces and opportunities to build community and connection.
I love everything about the Eastland area. I like the sense of family. I just like the unity that we have on the east side of Columbus.
It's always been like a big family here. And it's even better to me now because it's diverse. And we have a great essence of character and culture. And, we're not necessarily a melting pot, but we're a tossed salad.
Yes.
And so we learn from each other. And I've been here 40 years and I've seen it evolve and it's only gotten better. Looking forward to the future.
My dream would be to be on a bus or in a car or on a bike and see community out and about, to see prosperity, to see people running their own businesses, families, utilizing stores, going to the stores again, having a lot of the City of Columbus's resources in the area where people can go to that they may need, but just seeing a community, a flourishing, populated community of working people that are trying to revitalize the area, that want to grow their businesses, grow their wealth, and live above the means because they can and because it's working for them.
I want to see a mixture of things for your age group. In other words, a place for you to work, a place for you to live. I see the Eastland plant as not being a mall, obviously, anymore, but housing and, like you said, small businesses, incubators maybe, recreation, all the things that people 20, 30, 40, early 50s would be interested in, because when you get those people together, you also get what comes with them. And that's what keeps the youth in our area, and that's what helps our housing and builds our economy.
Yeah.
So I have that massive dream of this being the place to be, the short north of the east, so to speak. First thing about this plan was that we were asked. We were asked what we wanted. We live here, okay? No one knows that better than those of us who do. And sometimes plans come together and there's an assumption made about this is the way it should look, this is the way it's gonna be. That didn't happen here.
And I think the success of the whole Eastland plan is also the fact that it is bringing the East Siders together. You know, we feel safer, you know, we feel engaged, and we get more people involved to care about what's going on in their neighborhoods and in the city, and it makes it for a better place to live.
I remember a time when there were no commissions at all on this side of town. So it's wonderful that not only did we start all the commissions, all three of the commissions all came together as well, made up of the community.
I don't ever think I've ever seen in my 60-some years of doing this, a group of people that were that determined to get down to the root of the problem. And then to systematically bring together a plan that covered those areas. And so that is what has thrilled and excited me about this.
I'm excited that we've seen two big partners already step up, and one was Columbus State and another was the Food Collective. I'm most excited to see how the city can help us collaboratively with bringing other business entities into our area to partner with us to help us grow and revitalize even more.
That turned out beautiful. If you all knew what went on behind the scenes to make that happen, all the cords in the top of the room and all the wires behind the scenes, but those ladies did fantastic. So again, we're gonna jump into, I'm gonna let the screen catch up before I keep on going. But if you have not been involved up until this point, we have been doing this thing for quite some time together. So we kicked off our first public event back in October of last year, and we have, like we've mentioned, hosted a variety of opportunities for, actually of 2023, not last year, I'm still living in 2024, clearly, but in the fall of 2023, which, wow, that's even longer. So it was a 16-month process. And so we walked through all of these different stages together. And so now you will see that ongoing is listed underneath implementation because, like we mentioned, this is just the start of this thing, right? So the work is continuing. In a way, the work is just beginning, right? And so it's gonna take all the folks in the room, both at that individual level, but also at those organizational and collective levels to really bring this thing to life. So if you've been sticking around this whole time, or if you were already started on the other side of the timeline and you're here, thank you for still being here. We appreciate it. And again, just to reorient us to the plan area, you will see our plan boundaries here and that we are home to over 20,000 folks. And many of you are here in the room today, so we appreciate that. And then we're gonna get into our big ideas. And so the way that, that our plan is broken down, before we get there, we're gonna kind of peek at the vision. And so again, this is not new. We've kind of put it here multiple times so we can kind of get used to this thing. I'm not gonna read it word for word, but there are some key phrases that are highlighted throughout, right? And so Eastland, just being a community where everybody has equitable access to resources, right? What we heard a lot during this process is so many folks have to leave to do so many things, to meet so many basic needs. And that is something that we need to address, and you will see that moving throughout the plan. A higher quality of life, a place where everyone can belong or call home, and a strong sense of community, which I hope you all feel that tonight. I am a big feeler, so sitting in the corner listening to these ladies up here, I have to be really strong and keep my emotions. I will let those flow at the end of this event once it's over at 7:01. But just, I am grateful that you all have welcomed me into that community, and so I am grateful and I feel that. So I hope as we continue to do this thing, you feel that as well. And so again, we've got 8 big ideas on this cute little color wheel. And so we've got community gathering and mobility and access in the purple. We've got housing, community well-being and services, community identity and pride, retail, small business and entrepreneurship, youth and education, and jobs and opportunity, which you heard my voice on the video just say. That was also another thing, hearing that on these speakers, but it all came together really well. And how our plan is broken down, again, we have those 8 big ideas, and within those big ideas, there are some key objectives, right? And so those are those targets that we are aiming at. And then within those objectives, we have individual action items. And again, I think the beauty of this plan is that there are action items, again, that can be kind of taken and undertaken at the individual level, but there are also some of those kind of broader big picture items that are going to require collaboration from our community. And so that's what you'll see in the actions. And then early wins are those projects that we already have investments and commitments for that are happening. So some of those have been mentioned already. Mid-Ohio Food Collective, Columbus State, our Rec and Park folks who are here in the hallway, they've got beautiful renderings if you have not seen those yet, and an open house coming up, which I'll share the date at the end. So a lot is happening in that Rec and Park space as well. And then catalytic opportunities. So those are those transformative projects, those opportunities that could really help bring this plan to life. And you'll see those noted here, and you will also see those noted in the plan. And just to call out on the executive summaries that you have on your seats, the page numbers at the end correspond to the pages in the plan. So you will find all of those catalytic opportunities, those 8 big ideas in the big plan that again is on the website. So just so you know, those are the pages that you can reference those specific things there. And again, we're not going to let you forget that the 8 big ideas are those things as well. So here's just a summary again on that particular graphic, which you will also see in your executive summary. So just to get into housing really quickly, so one of those objectives is to preserve and maintain the existing housing stock, right? And so this relates to home repair programs, maintenance programs, making sure that we address properties that are vacant, that are condemned, and also improving our response as a city to those requests when you all send those our way. And so how these tables are broken down, again, you'll see that objective, those recommendations that I just shared, and then a realistic time frame, right? So I think another key theme of this plan is that there are going to be some items that can happen in the near term, in the near future, and then there are also going to be some projects that are going to take a little bit of time, a little extra patience, but they are here for a reason. So that's what you'll see noted in time frame. And then potential partners, these are some folks who are either already doing this work or who could step in to help fill some of those gaps. And then metrics, right? How will we know that we are successful if we are not tracking or we aren't measuring things? And so these are just some of the metrics that we have suggested, that we've heard back from your feedback as well. So that is what our implementation tables look like. And so we've got a number of partners here, and then some metrics related to housing vacancies, increased supply of market rate units in certain classes, reduced blood levels. The city is doing a big push to address that, especially in children. And then our next objective is to expand those housing options, right? We know that we have quite the housing crisis and shortage, right? We need more places for folks to live, more affordable places, more quality places for folks to live. And so this involves, like we've heard a lot, that Eastland Mall site and the potential that it holds as a potential space for new housing, as well as some areas on Refugee Road, offering incentives for more of that mixed-use development that we've heard discussed as well. Providing different traffic calming measures and some things that can happen on the development end to make those kind of safer spaces, and also more green spaces, right? We've got a lot of parking lots right now, right? But that was the nature of what retail used to be, right? And so how can we reimagine and re-envision what those spaces could be in the future? And then you'll see some, again, timeframes, partners, and then some additional metrics as well. And then to close out housing, wanting to create more opportunities for owners and renters as well. So that looks like different programs, whether it be down payment assistance, wealth building, other financial literacy programs, creating more options that allow renters to move into that home ownership space for those who want to do that. Expanding rent and utility use assistance, as we know that is a large and growing need as well. Expanding landlord and tenant mediation to reduce evictions, right? We've seen a large number of properties who have been dealing with issues, especially here on the east side and in the Eastland area in particular, dealing with landlords and just properties that had not been taken care of like they should, and that leads to folks not being able to live safely in their homes. Addressing problem and exploited, I clearly led into that. Landlords, and then supporting efforts, which we've heard a lot, to relieve the property tax burden. And the catalytic opportunities that we have shared before, and forgive us if the lighting is kind of funky. It's a really cute green on my screen, but it comes up as this funky yellow. But we've got aligning zone in, right? So that was a huge effort and continues to be an effort that the city is undertaking to update our zoning code. And we've started with those key corridors, with Hamilton Road being one of those. And so really making sure that what comes next is in alignment with the opportunities that zone in presents. As well as establishing some neighborhood residential typologies, right? So what do we want this new housing, what do we want that to look like, right? And ensuring that the community has the opportunity and say to voice in that space. And then retail, small business, and entrepreneurship. Of course, this is a big one for us. But again, you know, as folks have shared, this plan is so much more than the mall. And so I hope that is the theme, too, that comes from these 8 big ideas. Yes, there's a lot of potential in that mall space, right? But this plan is so much more than one particular site and one particular parcel. And so that looks like supporting our existing businesses that are here. We have a lot of incredible businesses that are already here, right? And that could use some additional supports. So connecting with those folks, helping them to become more aware of different programs and funding that might be available. Creating and establishing a co-working space is something that we heard a lot of during this process. The creation of a formal business association for the Eastland area. We have some for the surrounding areas, but not one that is specifically focused on the Hamilton Road corridor. And so the creation of that group. Creating more special events, so having opportunities to have fun, because you all know how to show up. You are a fun group. It is never boring when we are here. And so just having more opportunities for folks to come together and just relax and connect and build community. And then also creating a community business marketing strategy for those existing businesses. And then what does it look like to attract new businesses, right? So grocery store, I'll skip to line 2. We heard that quite a bit, a traditional grocery store and the desire for that to be in the area. Adding more of those third spaces, again, for opportunities for folks to connect and engage and build community. Again, prioritizing traffic calming measures and doing things on the development end that just make those sites more accessible by bike, by bus, by car. And then again, that parking, right? And so what does it look like to make sure that we are kind of being responsible in reusing those spaces in a more balanced way? And then expanding entrepreneurship supports. Again, we have a lot of folks who are doing a lot of wonderful things in this space as well. So what could that look like to support them, to connect them to additional resources so that Eastland can be an area where folks who want to start their own small business can do that and can do that successfully. And so again, you will see, and a lot of you I think have seen some of these larger images there in the plan, but some of our catalytic opportunities that you'll see here is that reimagined South Hamilton corridor, and what could it look like to realign that space with particular uses in particular areas of the road. This image at the top, there's Saraga. You can't see it, but you can see the orange in the background, right? And what could it look like, because that is a whole lot of parking lot over there by Saraga, right? But what could it look like to re-envision and reimagine that space to make it more walkable, to make it more open to opportunities and food trucks who might want to park out, or just folks who want to gather and enjoy. And then the 2 bottom images you'll see, that is a revitalized Courtright and then Lindora Plaza, as Vanjie mentioned before. So what could it look like to really transform those spaces, especially Lindora being so connected to a residential neighborhood already? And then we have our beautiful community hub graphic. And so this is the graphic that sits on the mall site. And as Ms. Quay and others have alluded to, right, like there's so much potential for this to be an incredible mixed use space, right? And so a lot of the uses that we've heard from this process were, of course, the addition of housing, that residential, that retail core. So what could it look like to welcome additional commercial retail uses, right? And making sure those are the right uses as well, right? And so senior housing, you'll see up front, different civic uses, like a community center, a library. You'll see a beautiful envisioning of a finished and completed Mason Run Park there, right? And so there's so much opportunity for this space to be connected with that park that is to come. And then moving into youth and education. So again, how do we support our students and our youth as they grow in their journeys? So a big part of that is supporting our schools. We have 13 schools in the plan area. We've got 3 Columbus City schools and we have 10 charter schools They have been wonderful partners in this process too. We've gone out to visit and talk to staff. We did school staff surveys. We've had quite a few principals who have shown up at different events here, so grateful for their support. They do a lot of work without a lot of time and not a lot of resources, so just kudos to our educators in the community. So making sure that we are connecting and expanding opportunities for before and after school programming, reducing those barriers that would help more parents be involved and engaged. And I think a lot of times this is an area that gets a bad rap. I think there are a lot more parents and caregivers who want to be engaged. There are just so many barriers to that engagement. So what does it look like for us as a community to help support that area? Supporting our programs and services that help more of our kiddos graduate from high school, and supporting initiatives that address safety concerns at school. This is one that we heard quite loudly in, I think, 2 of our youth focus groups, is that school does not feel like a safe place to be anymore, right? I am a kid who loved going to school. I thrived in school. I was very much a teacher's pet. But I loved going there, and so I think it brings me sadness to hear that so many of our youth are having that experience. So again, what does it look like for us to wrap our arms around our schools and become better partners to make our kids feel more safe at school? Increasing pedestrian safety to and from school facilities. We heard this a lot with Independence, right, and desire for more sidewalks, which they are working on there. And then you'll see some of those different metrics, everything from attendance, graduation, literacy rates, absenteeism. There are a lot of things that you can actually measure in the youth and education space. And then we've got improving transportation access to and from various opportunities, educational opportunities. We heard that quite loudly too from Independence as well, that it is hard for our students to take advantage of some of those programs like College Credit Plus because of the transportation barrier that exists. And so that's why I'm extra grateful that we are getting Columbus State in our community, right, and the way that that can be transformational in connecting more youth at the high school level to them and their services. And then just, again, supporting folks with their basic needs, providing resources for older children. I think sometimes that is a demographic that is forgotten about at times. And what does it look like to support them? And then just more opportunities for positive community development, right? So how can we as a community, both formally and informally, just support our schools? Investing in youth-focused services and programs. What does it look like to increase mentorship programs and opportunities? Help support career and job readiness for our youth, mental health and counseling supports, which continues to be an increasing need for our youth as well, and then improving access to summer programs and employment. This is a big one. This is one of the longest implementation tables in the plan, but it's one of the most important ones. So if it's yellow, if it keeps going, it's just, we'll get there eventually. But we've got create spaces that are welcoming and engaging for youth. This came up not just from our youth, but also from our adults. And so I think it's wonderful that we are thinking about this multi-generational approach here in Eastland. So what could it look like to create more of those spaces, right? Developing a community center, as Vanjie mentioned, what would it look like to have 2? I said, I don't know if 2 is the answer, but what could it look like to have a community center in our community, and a true hub, not just for youth, but for resources and for others who benefit from rec center programs. And just the fact that we have to meet at Barnett and not inside of the Eastland Plan area speaks to that need. But we are very grateful for our gracious hosts at Barnett who have welcomed us. I think this is the 8th time, time and time again, and have been huge supporters of the Eastland Plan. Building a library for youth and families, and then what could it look like to potentially co-locate that library with the community center or other resources as well. Fostering more of those intergenerational interactions, and then attracting more entertainment venues like the movie theater. I heard the reaction in the crowd, but more opportunities for, again, not just youth, but all of us to enjoy and have fun. And then the catalytic opportunity here is that Eastland Community Center. And again, this is just zeroing in on a portion of the community hub graphic. So you will find that within there too. But again, what could it look like to just co-locate those resources? And again, that potential connection to Mason Run Park. Community well-being and services, improving those health and wellness outcomes. So improving food access and availability of fresh and healthy foods. And again, we are so grateful that Mid-Ohio Food Collective is stepping in to help address so many of these action items. So everything from a pharmacy, grocery store, farmers markets, WIC locations, expanding or creating community gardens. I will give a shout out to them later, but I'm gonna call them out here. Directions for Youth and Families. They are doing a lot to build a more robust community garden. And I have a QR code that you will see here. They're looking for volunteers to really activate that space. So again, they're another partner, not just doing the work in that youth space, but really helping to meet some of those food and nutritional needs as well as community gathering needs. Pharmacy provider, comprehensive community health services, increasing access to educational resources, financial empowerment, other community-based resources, as well as making sure that we are addressing the language barriers that exist. We have a wonderfully diverse community here, and language can often be a barrier for access for those communities as well too. So how are we thinking proactively to ensure all of the folks who want to join or be at the table can be? Improving safety overall, so just continuing to mobilize the community just to be good stewards, improving relationships with first responders. Again, some action items you'll see repeated, like that reduce vacant and/or condemned properties because they fall within quite a few, creating more of those spaces for youth, improving lighting, and then building trust and collaboration between the city and Eastland neighbors, creating a community hub, enhancing police and community collaboration model. And again, I'm gonna shout out our CLO in the back, again, for the incredible work that he does to help bridge that gap every single day. Continuing to be involved with our area commissions, organizing a fun annual day for folks to just connect. And then our Eastland Prosperity Center, and so that is, you've seen that graphic there. They'll have more to share as that gets developed. I'm gonna have Brad, can you just raise your hand? If you've got questions about this site in particular, Brad is a Senior VP of Operations, and so he'd be happy to answer any of those questions as well. And I believe, is Shelley Martin here? Okay, so she is a board member with the Total Health Care Center, so that is going to be the healthcare partner that is within the Mid-Ohio Food Collective space. And these are some of the services that they are considering bringing into that space. So primary care, women's health, behavioral health, sexual health, wellness and prevention, a pharmacy, vision, and dental. And so if you have any questions in particular about this portion of that Mid-Ohio Food Collective space, she would be your go-to person to connect with and answer those questions as well. Jobs and opportunity, connecting residents to jobs and opportunities and tools to improve their financial outlook. So this involves a lot of different things. So improving transportation access, expanding job training programs, incentivizing community employers to pay folks a livable wage, recruiting Eastland residents to fill the many jobs in our community, then diversifying employment opportunities in Eastland. So what does it look like to attract a new employer? We'll continue to recruit those industries that are growing, but that are stable and environmentally friendly to the community as well. And then I'm going to shout out Columbus State. I know I saw Dave. Is Dale in the house too? Yes, I see you now. Can you both raise your hands? Awesome, awesome. So Dave and Dale makes it very easy. They are the two folks that you want to connect with if you want to learn more about that site. We are super excited about that. They are going to have over 2,600 construction trades and first responder students in their first year at the site. So this is going to be quite transformational as well, and we are very excited to have you all here and partnering at the table. Mobility and access, so that is just ensuring that we are investing in modern and safe pedestrian, bike, and transit infrastructure. So we heard this a lot, filling in those gaps in the sidewalk when it comes to pedestrian safety, focusing on those high injury crossings and promoting walkability in a more holistic way in our community. With bikes, just continuing to fill the gaps in the bike network, and bridging the gaps between the connections and some of those other regional connections. And then something that we do not currently have in our community is bike and scooter sharing with the area. So what could that look like to incorporate that in the Eastland area? And then as far as transit, we heard a lot about improving bus frequency and route speed, which CODA is already proactively doing that on the east side too. So I'm gonna have Kenny wave his hand. There you go, thank you, Kenny. And so if you have any particular questions about CODA on the Eastland area, he would be your gentleman to ask. So improving access to bus stops, but also improving the quality of those bus stops, right? Getting more shelters, more seating. So just allowing folks to just have more dignity and rest, relax while they're waiting for the bus. And then some early wins. Again, a lot of this is already out there on the Rec and Parks boards, but completing the Big Walnut Trail and its connection to some of those larger regional greenways, catalytic opportunities on the Eastland Ring. And so Brad, this is actually a wonderful idea that Brad came up with in one of our sessions. And so what could it look like to connect the Big Walnut Trail to the Eastland Ring? And so just building this kind of inter-community connection. Okay, yes, clap it up. Okay, yes, clap for the Eastland Ring. And then this is a map that just shows more of those priority bike connections and what that could potentially look like on Courtright Road. And then helping to close some of those gaps, especially as it relates to safety around our schools and sidewalks. And then also, what could it look like to include Hamilton Road in the next round of Link Us and corridors? So, yes. Know that we are pushing on our department's end for that to happen. And we are excited to see the work that will happen on our West Broad corridor and some of the ones that are already underway or soon will be. And then this is just an image of what it could look like to potentially have a bus rapid transit station on Hamilton Road. And then community identity and pride, beautifying and enhancing our community. So fostering a unique sense of identity, which we already have, right? But what does it look like to continue to formalize that? So creating a community brand, making sure we are sharing those stories through art and signage and banners, and really doing our job to highlight those diverse and cultural resources and entities in our community. Beautification, so continuing to support. I will say that you all do a lot of this already. A lot of neighborhood cleanups are happening, but we can do more, and folks need additional support. So what does it look like to continue to support those efforts? Again, improving the city's response to those, and then welcoming gateways at some of our key community thresholds, nodes, and corridors, right? So what could it look like? I think the question that we asked during the engagement process is, where do you feel like you've arrived in Eastland, right? And what could it look like to just mark that or just create some sort of entryway into the community? And so what you are seeing here is, so what currently was standing here was Big Lots. So this is the parking lot where Big Lots is. So you'll see Winchester Pike and then Refugee Road. You'll see the Columbus State rendering up at the top, right? So what could it look like to envision that giant parking lot space into something more productive with some residential uses, with commercial and retail, with the connection to the Alum Tree Trail? What could it look like to transform that particular site? And then these are some additional catalytic opportunities. So adding more trees along Hamilton Road and Refugee Road, improving the underpasses and adding some art and color and lights. And then community gatherings. So again, we've heard a lot about connections, recreation, just creating spaces for folks to be and belong and gather. So in enhancing our parks, and again, Rec and Parks is already doing a tremendous job with this. And so what does it look like to upgrade different features in the park, right? So play features, we've heard a lot about wanting a pool or splash pad, some sort of just water opportunity or aquatic opportunity in our parks, addressing safety issues, improving sports fields, adding more trees, more shade, more seating, all of the things that would make our parks a more enjoyable experience for everyone. And then fostering community interaction for everyone of all ages. So promoting more of those volunteer opportunities, increasing opportunities for regular recreation, more community events, just again, things that help us build that stronger sense of community. And then this is blown up on the board outside, but the new Mason Run Park, and so again, this is just behind the mall site, and so you'll see some athletic fields, you'll see a wonderfully long woven walking trail, you'll see some retention ponds. I think there are some like picnic spaces and playgrounds. So again, your Rec and Park folks are the resources for that, but this is going to be quite the transformational site, as well as the upgrades that are going to happen to Helsa Park, because the athletic fields that are currently there, those uses will move to Mason Run Park, and this will become, I think, more of kind of a nature preserve area due to the floodplain with Helsa Park. So a lot of great things happening there, and then you'll see more details in the plan about what we've heard from you all about park improvements. I think this thing is clicking for me. To Mayberry Park, Napsker Park, Walnut View Park, and East Haven Park. And then most importantly, what's next? So there are a lot of things and a lot of partners, again, who are already in these spaces and already doing great work. But again, the work is just beginning, and so we are inviting you all to continue to stay engaged. Our website is going to continuously be updated with different community events, different things happening, and so there is an opportunity there for you all now to add, I did that last night, for you all to add your community events so we can continue to build out that calendar and what that looks like. But again, a few that are already on our radar, the open house for the Big Walnut Trail extension, again, that is next week, next Wednesday, 5:30 to 7:30 at the Far East Community Center. Mary, Brad, those are your folks out there who will have answers to any of your questions about that particular event. Again, the community garden, this is that QR code if you are interested. If gardening is your thing, it's not my thing, but there are some things that I can do. You know, I can water a little bit or try to help dig something. But there are a lot of great opportunities to help support this initiative. I don't know if Jason is here, but Jason is the contact there, his phone number, email, QR code is there. Just feel free to scan that as well. They would love to have more volunteers there. Rise Up CBUS. Is anybody already familiar with our Rise Up CBUS initiatives and events? Awesome. So this year we are very fortunate to have 3 Eastside events. And so the first one that will kick off is on Thursday, May 1st, which is the One Columbus Cultural Day. I'm gonna shout out Lindora from our team if you wanna raise your hand. So Lindora is on our wonderful, New American Leadership Program. And so they are helping to put this event on. It will be actually at the Librarians in Columbus Community Center in their space on Kimberly Parkway. And then our Eastland for Everyone block party, which is kind of a scale, it really wasn't that scaled down, but there's supposed to be this pared down version of Rise Up CBUS. That will be happening on Thursday, July 10th at Napsker Park. And then we will have one toward the end of the summer on August 28th at Fairmore Elementary School on Thursday, August 28th. So these are on the plan website. We'd love to see you at 1, at 2, at all of them. So just please join us. Lots of resources, free food, music. The Eastland for Everyone block party, we are hosting that in partnership with Rec and Parks to provide more feedback on those new parks that are coming. So that will be yet another opportunity to share input on Mason Run and Helsa Park. And then general community updates, mall demolition on the mall has begun. I will say that the city attorney's office continues to be the point of contact for that particular process. But we are excited, like Ms. Ava said, that was a beautiful way to sum that up, just for new beginnings and what could be and what is to come at that particular site. Vista Village is open. Is Harvey here tonight? I don't know if is Harvey here? Okay, I don't see him, but wanted to shout him out. So that is a transitional living, kind of tiny home model that is open just kind of off of Courtright Road on the opposite side. I think it's like Soldier Street is the official name. And so they have begun to house residents in that space. And so there are a lot of wonderful things happening there. Their website has their contact information if you are interested in reaching out to those folks. And then the Eastland for Everyone Advisory Committee, like I mentioned before, we will reconvene in the spring with our current partners and the addition of some other folks and partners to keep this thing and this train moving. This is very sensitive, but we are getting to the end, and that is okay. Our community survey, many of you have started this already, but we are just asking for some additional feedback to help us track and measure progress. And so there are 2 versions, and many of you have probably already gotten this, but there are 2 versions of the survey. So there's one for residents who live within the plan boundaries, and that'll be the first question. It'll prompt you to the right version. And then for those who don't, there's still lots of questions for you all to answer. We have it here. We have paper copies. If you want to be entered into the gift card raffle, there's an opportunity to do that at the end. And then you can get some plan swag. So we hope that you are just able to take that survey. If you have issues accessing it, let me know, but we also have paper copies on hand. And then again, please stay connected to our website. The plan document as of 4 o'clock is officially launched on the website. So you can see it there. It is downloadable, it is viewable, but it's also downloadable, just kind of broken down into chunks. We will continue to grow that events calendar, continue to populate any just important community updates there. If there's something you would like to see on the website, my contact info is here. My contact info is also on the website, I think on every single page, so you can't miss it. All you have to do is click my email and it will automatically populate, but please stay connected. Again, the theme is that we are just getting started. There's excitement, there's momentum here in building, but we want to keep that going. We got here because of you. We're going to keep moving through because of you. So we hope that you all can stick this out and stick this through with us. Keep showing up, get involved with your area commissions, stay connected to the partners who are doing incredible work here, and just keep reaching out to us as you see things, want to share things. We are here. This is really a team thing, and so we are just excited and grateful to be doing this thing with you all. That is all I have for us tonight. Again, if you have any questions, please let us know. Please take the survey. We've got swag. We want to give that to you. Plan is live on the website. If you have questions, just let me know. Thanks. You guys are too gracious. Clap for yourselves. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.